Here come the LGBTQIA+
Hands, knees, and bumps a daisy.
people.
Beep, 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 beep. Hey up, you lot. Okay, right. What's going on here? Well, there is I'm just frankly gobsmacked. But here we go. It appears that the Richard Dawkins podcast has provoked a reaction in some rather peculiar people, including me. Right? Okay. So here we go. What we've got is an article. I can't believe this. Okay. So hold fire. Oh, but warrior teacher. Blah blah blah. Buy me a coffee. Buy me a coffee. It's the beginning of the month. The end of the month is gone. So if you're going to help out, please do. Now, this comes from a person, right, called Helen Joyce, who is editor at friendlyatheist.com. And he's written a piece. I nearly had the of something then, but I won't, right? Which I am frankly gobsmacked at. Okay, because this ongoing Dawkins journey seems to never end. So let's have a go at this, shall we? Let's pick it apart and have a look at its guts. Okay, because it's fun. Richard Dawkins used his new podcast to promote more transphobic lies. Richard, you dreadful person, you dreadful transphobe. That's what he's saying. In a conversation with Helen Joyce, Dawkins showed he hasn't learned anything about this issue. Now, if you want to see the sort of face of the kindly authoritarian, this is a good place to start, because you can sense the festering rage beneath it, right? Okay, it's, the sort. So he then exhorts you to give him money, which I do all the time. If you support the guy, give him some cash, help him out. It's our job, this. Richard Dawkins, he says, recently launched a podcast called The Poetry of Reality, which could easily be a wonderful venue for him to talk about evolution to an audience that hasn't read his books yet. Instead, the only original episode so far, as opposed to older interviews and speeches, was just released over the weekend, and it's with notorious transphobe Helen Joyce. That needs a t-shirt, doesn't it? Notorious transphobe Helen Joyce. That's not at all inquisitorial, is it? Seethe and cope, mate. Who has no expertise in the subject matter. They really are stupid. No expertise, as if there's any kind of expertise you need to, apply makeup and put a dress on. No clue, see? No clue. He says, who has no expertise, Helen, in the subject matter, but has been obsessed with the topic for years. So what Helen's done is, if she is obsessed, and I'm pretty obsessed by this because I'm obsessed with stopping them trans and the gay away and costing us a fortune on the bloody National Health Service. But if she was obsessed, the implication is that she sat there just being obsessed and did nothing. How you doing today, Helen? Still obsessed? I'll check in on you Friday. It's just bonkers. It's like nothing you've ever seen before. It's insane. So, we've already established that Helen Joyce is a notorious transphobe and has no expertise in the subject matter, despite writing a best-selling book. Where was he writing this? He was writing it sat on the loo when he had the squits. That's when he wrote this. She's been obsessed with the topic for years and has plenty of ties to the most notorious anti-trans voices online. Joyce has previously said transgender people who have transitioned are damaged. Well, I would say that, those kinds of extreme surgeries that nullify you as a human being in some ways were pretty damaging. Ask some of the detransitioners, have a conversation with them, find out how damaged they are. And a huge problem to the sane world. She believes reducing the number of people who transition is a moral imperative. So do I. What, you want more people to have a mental issue? You want more people to be butchered at the church of gender? Is that what you want? Hemant, is that what you want? Because that's what you're saying. You oaf, right? A review of her book in the New York Times, right, by someone else who's anti-trans, commissioned by an editor who's also anti-trans. They're everywhere. They're not concerned people, they're anti-trans. I'm concerned about these children being hurt. You're anti-trans! Imagine having somebody called anti-trans. What would she be like? Male. Right, okay. They created an uproar, apparently, amongst LGBTQ people and allies. No gays and lesbians uproared then. Okay. If Dawkins brought her on to call her out on any of this, fair enough. But that's not what he did. It was a 52-minute discussion in which he fawned over their shared bigotry. Reality is now shared bigotry, folks. Prepare yourself for the New World Order. Reality is shared bigotry. It would take up a lot more space to explain every single problem with Joyce's comments in this interview. Write a book. She did. But I figured I could at least point out the places Dawkins got things wrong and why I believe his support of people like Joyce is harmful to, here we go again, LGBTQ people. It's got nothing to do with gays and lesbians, young man. As well as to him, to LGBT, the alphabet soup folk, as well as his own reputation. Something I've written about before, and then there's a link, I haven't clicked it. He's obviously got a problem with Dawkins. At 4 minutes 5. Sex really is binary, no question about it. You're either male or female. It is to me, as a biologist, distinctly weird that people can simply declare, I am a woman, though I have a penis. I am a woman, though I have a penis. Right. The binary thing, says this chap, is literally literal genocide. Is literally not true. As just about any biologist could tell you. Well, not this one. Any biologist. He's talking about one of the greatest biologists on the planet. A man with a cannon. You know, so vast. And yet here we are. Any biologist, apart from this one, could tell you. And it's embarrassing that Dawkins is repeating it. Not anywhere near as embarrassing as this ridiculous article you've written, or blog, or whatever you want to call it. What should we get? Bum gravy. Yeah. He's implying that male and female descriptions come down to simple genetics and gametes. Whether you have XX or XY chromosomes and the parts to match it. Here we go. Right? Wait for it, it's going to come in it, you know it. But the situation can get much more complicated than that. If you acknowledge that intersex people exist, as Dawkins does, and that there are various variations even within that category, and that genetic blueprints don't tell you someone's don't tell you someone's entire story. When you go away, the supposed binary stops being as clean as cut as he would have us believe. Help me. Just stop it, will you? Thing. Driving me mad. This recent video from YouTuber, right, and then he points you to a YouTuber by someone called Jackson Wagon, who's obviously totally mad. I had a quick look at it, like, oh my God, I'm in the deepest, darkest parts of insanity here. Absolutely, and then he quotes it. Here, Jackson Wagon does a really good job of explaining the nuance. Dawkins led up to that quotation, this one I'm about to read. There is peer pressure and even teacher pressure to really go against reality and affirm transgender children. The idea of the fake idea of the trans child. Fake, right? Dawkins led up to that quotation by citing a letter he received from a child who said she went to a school where being gay or trans was seen as cool, and that made her question being heterosexual. Dawkins just takes this as gospel and suggests this peer pressure and teacher pressure to be LGBTQ+ really exists. It does exist, you absolute idiot. This is a known thing, and it's got nothing to do with gay people. Just to be clear, LGBTQ, that the alphabet soup nutters, are nothing to do with lesbian and gays. Nothing. Even though they got the L and G on there, and the B for bisexuals. Even if any of that was true, it wouldn't make a damn bit of difference. Your friends and teachers can't turn you gay or trans. Now, he has to include the gay there. Take the gay off, it comes out different. Your friend and teachers can't turn you trans. Oh, yes, they can. Oh, yeah, I've spoken to people recently. We're in the school, 6 girls came out at the same time. And I'm trans. You bet your bottom dollar they can. It's a social contagion. This is an idiot. Even if this confused child thought for a moment, well, for a while, that she might be LGBTQ. So now it's not trans, it's LGBTQ. Right? So again, the confusion there. They have to keep confusing things, changing the categorization in order to make everything undeclarative. Even if this confused child thought for a while that she might be LGBTQ, that wouldn't mean she actually was. Really? Right? How does that work? So if you think you're LGBTQ, you might not be, or if you think you might LGBTQ, you definitely are. Will affirm you. Thick. That's all I can say. You must be thick. Are you thick? You can't be. Come on. You've got to be a bit of a thinker, haven't you? Try thinking. Oh, you should read a book. I know. Trans by Helen Joyce. Yeah, wibbling nonsense go. More importantly, that's not what any of the serious political debates, laws, controversies are about. Dawkins has empathy for that child, which is fine, but then he just parrots her own misunderstanding of the situation. That requires thinking about, doesn't it? Try that again. Dawkins has empathy for that child, which is fine. Well, I'm glad that you've given permission for Dawkins to have empathy. You authoritarian freak. Right? Which is fine. But then he just parrots her own misunderstanding of the situation. The control freakery is astounding. Her own misunderstanding. So she's misunderstanding the situation. There's the ideology. You can see it. Like a name of a town through a stick of rock. If more people are coming out as trans, you don't come out as having a mental condition. If more people are coming out as trans these days, we ought to celebrate how people who were previously in the closet no longer feel the need to hide who they are. No. I don't know who you're talking about. Define your terms. What's trans? People who come out of the closet. The only reason they come out of the closet is because it's full of dresses and knickers. Not everything is a conspiracy theory. No. But not everything isn't. So he's saying that this is a conspiracy theory, that Dawkins is pushing a conspiracy theory about a girl that wrote to him. It's madness of the first order. Madness. And we're back after a brief cut. Bloody neighbours. Okay, right, okay. Let's carry on. I've finished that. You've only just I'm going to carry on. All right. If teachers accept a student's self-identification and use their pronouns and avoid their dead name, it's just sick, innit? With a capital S. That's not a form of pressure either. That's just a sign of respect. No, it's not. It's capitulation to the cult. Dawkins says in the interview that he does indeed respect trans people, and yet more than others do that. Yet when others do just that, he mocks it. Mocks it or them. I don't care what people do. I'm just not going to follow their crazy belief system like you do. And apparently in the video at 16:03, love bomb. That's what religious cults do. It's exactly what they do. This line comes in response to people celebrating trans children. There's no such thing as trans children, you utter fool. Joyce said people in a trans-friendly Facebook group she got access to were helping their kids transition, and others in the group were overwhelmingly supportive. Dawkins just can't believe it, comparing their actions to a religious cult instead of just basic human decency. It's not basic human decency. It isn't. We know that transition is iatrogenic from day one. The second you affirm, the harm begins. And Joyce is right. Right? Less of this. Okay, we want people to be well, not altering their bodies to fit their minds. Go have a look, because it's interesting reading, right? Okay, it is interesting reading. Go have a look, see what else you can find. The usual challenge, yeah? Other than that, I am now going to have to deal with something. So I shall see thee later, all right? Have fun. Keep jestering. Bye-bye.